those are huge numbers. I don't think people realize how mainstream short-term rentals have become and how mainstream this is as an asset class now. Does that mean that you're just having one makes you money? Absolutely not. Those days are over. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Moore, and I'm here with my main man, Dave Sivulich, for another episode of Whisky Wednesdays. These are short, sweet, topic-based episodes. We're going to go over a couple things going on in our world, some hot topics, and some questions that you guys send in that we can answer live on these episodes. And so we will dive in. Dave, you are kind of the MC on this. You know, you got our topics, you got our what questions, everything. We got some good stuff today.
I think I'm going to get a little badge or something that says producer.
Yeah, we get you a producer. Do producers wear hats? Maybe we get you a producer hat. All right.
Yeah,
we'll get you a producer hat.
I don't know. Yeah, we got good topics scheduled today. Okay. So first, a little something personal. What Grace and Wyatt are your children. Grace is quite the performer, pretty busy and pretty active in a lot of theater and ballet and performances and stuff. I think that's amazing. And she works really hard at it. She puts a lot of time and effort into it. But what's your schedule like right now for Christmas and some of that stuff? You guys pretty busy and have a lot of stuff?
Pretty exciting. She's Grace grew up, she came out and she never saw a mirror that she didn't like. And then when she figured out microphones and stages, she's never saw one of those she didn't like. She's really fun. She operates a really high level when it comes to ballet, theater, all of that stuff. And so we stay really busy with her. Yeah. I mean, I know every parent. We're all busy. We're always, kids get into stuff. Wyatt's got his basketball and his sports and everything else. And so, schedule-wise, it's like kind of divide and conquer all week long. She's in White Christmas now.
Christmas, okay.
So she's in White Christmas, and she's got Susan Waverly, which is a really kind of a main part. It's the only kid in the show, and she does awesome. She's fun to watch. We just got back, but she performs every night. I mean, she performs every night, and then she has ballet performances on Sundays, and so there's not a break right now, especially holiday season, because now she's Nutcracker for the ballet, and so Teresa does an amazing job of getting her where she needs to go. Yeah, I mean,
she's the soccer mom for sure. For Grace. Running every day, and it's a thing about it. She loves it. Grace loves it, and we've always talked about this, several times offline, but with our kids and we push them to be good at whatever they love to do. Yeah. And as long as they love it, as long as they enjoy it, absolutely you'll support them. And that's great that she really loves it and puts a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah, so she absolutely loves it. Yes, awesome. She's her double. So there's a double. It's a double cast, right? Because the show's every single night, and then a couple shows on Saturdays. And the girl who's cast in the other cast has been in Fiji for 2 weeks. Yeah. And so Grace has been doing every single night, a couple shows on Saturdays, and just hasn't had a day off in 3 weeks, and she loves it. Well, her double's coming back at it, and she says, "Man, I wish she'd stay on vacation because I'm having fun." She just wants to be there every night.
She wants to do it all the time.
It's fun, but she has fun with it. And then Wyatt and I usually go our separate directions with his basketball. And I felt like that was busy because it's 3 nights a week, but that's not that.
There are some things. Definitely different interest levels and different sports and activities that are more busy than others, for sure. And that's one of them. Dance and some of those things are.
Theater. And I never grew up in that world, so this is all kind of new to me. And she loves it. Like it's fun to watch somebody that's in their element, and she's definitely in her element when she's on stage.
Good job, Grace. Keep it up.
Yep.
We'll see you. We'll see you on Broadway soon. So.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Yes, we will.
Trending topic today. Some numbers just came out recently. DNA and some of the other platforms. We had a big webinar last week. For those of you who were on it, it was awesome. You kind of divulged and kind of gave some details on those numbers. And it's pretty interesting, the year-over-year trends, especially during the holidays, and the increases of demand and so forth. So people always question, what's the demand look like? And is vacation, homes, are they continue to grow? And so there are some, pacing over the holidays this year over last year, up 9 to 11%. I mean, that's a big deal.
That's a huge deal. Yeah.
People are taking more time to vacation and to stay at short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's been a really, really eye-opening year when now that all the stats and it comes out every single quarter, and we watch it every month, but every quarter AirDNA does a big report on what the market looks like here in the U.S. as well as over in Europe. And the U.S. consumer has shown more resiliency through all of this, not just on the short-term rental side, but throughout, like just all spending, right? Spending. I mean, spending is just continues to go, crazy, right? They're just, people continue to spend. They're doing things. travel has just way exceeded expectations for 2023. We're at the end of 2023 now, and it was just demand, the nights booked, the money being spent. It's up across the board, and it continues to go up. I mean, when we looked at the off-season bookings, we're, in the first of the year, we started to say, man, this is kind of the slow time of year, and bookings keep going. They keep coming in, and demand keeps going up. The peak season was a really good peak season. Our off-season travel in most of these markets, when it starts to really tailor off in September and October, we saw this great demand. Now the holidays, you're looking at the stats here in the holidays.
Even like small and rural.
This breaks it down on like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year holidays. I mean, you're talking about like New Year's for the small city and rural markets up 48%
year over year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that, I don't think people realize. We talk about, and so many people talk about demand being down, and we've been saying show us where demand's down, right? Even on our webinars. I do this live all the time because I never do recorded webinars. I always do live, and I always go with a live Q&A, right? And sometimes our Q&As are 3 or 4 hours, right? I mean, these are like marathon type Q&As, and it's amazing that people stick along with us, and we answer a lot of questions, but always there's a question of, hey, I'm in a market, my market went down, demand's down. I say, let me look at your market. I don't think that demand is down. Your bookings went down, but that doesn't, the market itself,
it's different.
It's I mean, you're hard pressed to find a market right now that's going down because more money continues to be spent. And we're seeing the stats again for the holiday travel. And I don't know if we call it resiliency or whatever else. I mean, but short-term rentals, a 9 to 11% increase across the board. Certain markets, like the rural markets, up almost 50%. It's crazy. Those are crazy increases year over year. When we're on the tail end of a wild uphill ride with demand, right? It's not like we're going up 50% on the start of a run. We're on the tail end of a big run, and they're continuing to go up. I mean, those are huge numbers. I don't think people realize how mainstream short-term rentals have become and how mainstream this is as an asset class now. Does that mean that you're just having one makes you money? Absolutely not. Those days are over. And I don't think I'll go to the grave saying I don't think those days are coming back, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right. We're not going to see that again. You're going to have to operate toward the top of the market, but your share at the top of the market is significant. And if you can understand how to operate there, it's a big deal.
It can be huge profit for you. Absolutely.
And so it's exciting. It's really fun. We see it firsthand every single day because of what we do. But and then just to get the validation of what we're talking about with the stats when they do come out every single quarter, showing that rise in demand, that continue with nights booked, money being spent, all those different things continuing to go up. And it's just, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see, and it's fun because it really validates again that short-term rentals have become a mainstream asset class.
Well, and that's why we love this side of it. I mean, there's so many amazing things about it, but the continued growth and the demand that continues to go, and really the benefits of short-term rental. I mean, that's why we love it. There's so many great things about it, and it continues to be successful and grows.
Yeah, and when it becomes what it is now, and we're starting to see this, is you start to get institutional investors investing in enterprise-level solutions as far as software and tools and resources and all those different things that there wasn't the motivation for them to invest into this asset class on the tool side, on the resource side. So. And all that is going to do is, one, help us become better hosts, raise the bar,
better technology,
all
better
of that,
software.
Better customer experience. And so now that they're recognizing this is an asset that's here to stay, this isn't a here today, gone tomorrow type of a blip in the radar. They're realizing this is here to stay, and you're seeing a lot of money. It's going to be really exciting over the next year and a half as some of these new products and these new developments that are coming out that a lot of these big institutional investors are investing in as far as resources and customer experience things that we were able to provide. It's going to be, I mean, it's just going to be a game changer. It's going to be really, really fun. Especially, you got to remember, I bought my first one back in 2006, and Airbnb wasn't even around, right? It was local classifieds and Craigslist. And so to watch the maturity of the market change.
So different.
And it's been a wild ride. And right now we're just getting, and I think that this year was a pivotal year for those big investors to see how the market would respond.
It can sustain itself.
Yeah, when after the kind of that COVID rush happened, it's like, okay, was that a blip in the radar, or is this asset here to stay? Does the consumer prefer this as an accommodation choice?
Yeah.
And they're seeing that in it, and not just like maybe seeing it. It's like, it's resoundingly, the answer is yes, this is a preferred accommodation choice with the dollars being spent in this market. Now that validates and gives the investors confidence, the big investors, the institutional investors, not us as property investors, the institutional investors, to go in and invest in the resources now to take this to that next enterprise level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. And we're excited. And it's exciting to see where it's going to go next.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Couple questions here. How do you handle if a property underwrites great initially, and then in a year or so things change? More competition, more properties in the areas?
That is a good question, but probably not the right question. And so, and I mean this with all due respect, the market itself, we just got done talking about, across the board, the market is going up.
Right.
The more money's being spent. There's more nights being booked. What you're feeling is, okay, there's more competition. There's always going to be more competition. It doesn't matter what business you're in. You could have the very best property today. You build it from scratch. You see everything on the market. You build the best property in your market today. Tomorrow, somebody else is going to build a nicer property, right? And so you're always going to have competition. You're always going to have competition that has better properties than you. You have to understand to play the entire game. What type of an experience are you offering? How are you marketing? There's not one thing that changed, or there's probably multiple things that you're doing different, or you're just not doing any upgrades. Look at how you're underwriting as well, because what I look at when I underwrite, I look at three things. I look at occupancy, I look at the revenue range as far as nightly rate. My type of property in that market, single family, 3-bedroom, for example. I want to know on the low side, how much are those renting for, and on the high side. And then I want to know everything in between on those price tiers. And so I want to see that revenue range on average nightly rates. And then I want to look at the total revenue potential. And that's a combination or a multiplication of the occupancy and then all of those average nightly rates that I can charge. I'm going to have this revenue potential. And I have to say, okay, where do I fall on that? When I underwrite in a market that continues to have more and more money being spent, your revenue range typically grows. It grows on the high side, and it grows on the low side.
Right.
And so if you're falling more toward the low side, your job is not to say, okay, the market changed on me. The market did change on you. You're just relying on that. You're riding a wave. You don't want to be in any game where you ride a wave. You can either play the victim game and ride the wave, right? The victims ride the wave, and they say, I'm going to ride the market out. Right. All these outside forces and influences are going to determine how I perform. That's what I call the victim game. Or you can play the game to operate toward the top of the market. And if you're going to play the game to win. To play the game to win, it ultimately means you have to do different things. And so what I would challenge you to do is to say, okay, what does that revenue range look like? What did change in my underwriting? Typically, that range just got wider. Right, in a market, especially the markets that we're in right now. Maybe your revenue range was 30 to 80,000, and now that revenue range goes from 20 to 90,000. Right. And so your top side is better, but so is your low sides. There's more properties making less as well. Look at your listing, look at your property, and say, what am I doing to continue to operate and push toward the top? And if I'm not doing anything, if I'm just riding the wave, look and say, do I want to play the victim game? And I know that sounds harsh, and it's not meant to sound harsh, and sort of it is, because I want it to be an eye-opener for anybody that thinks that that's the case right now. That's not the case. Your problem is that you're not adjusting to a changing and a shifting market, right? Yep. And so, we're always underwriting. Underwriting, I look at the markets. If the market didn't ever change, I would only look at the market in the very beginning, and I would never look at it again. Right. Every single market I'm in, that I own properties in, I underwrite that revenue potential every single month. Every month I look at the numbers, and so that I know where am I actually falling? And if I start to slip down that revenue potential line, then I have to look in the mirror and say, what do I need to do
to your property, to your experience?
Yep. Who's doing a better job than me, and
why?
Getting more business and getting their unfair share of business. What are they doing? What am I not doing? Those are the questions you have to ask.
No, I think that's good. You can be the first property in a market, and you're doing great and you're doing awesome, but ultimately, like you said, somebody else is going to get a better, bigger, better property than you, and you've got to do whatever you can to keep up, to be better. And it's a lot of that's part of the experience. So
absolutely.
Good answer. Last question, a little lighter.
Was that mean or what?
No, just a little, just different, I guess. How important is a welcome basket for arriving guests, and what should be in it? Because a lot of people, they feel like, well, I probably ought to have a couple water bottles. I don't know, is that good enough, or do we need to have a Harry and David wine and cheese basket?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on where you want to operate, right? On that revenue line.
Yeah.
If you want to be good enough and average, put a couple water bottles out and a cookie, right? I mean, if you want to be above average, I tailor my welcome baskets to my guest experience and to my target audience. We've talked about before, some of you have heard it, some of you haven't heard it, that I used to have a property that would cater to fly fishermen. Yeah. And that property would have a handwritten note, and it would talk to them about my favorite areas to go fish, right? I would say, hey, listen, Dave, thanks so much for coming to the cabin. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. And I love every one of these fishing areas. I provide a map of my favorite areas to go fish on these rivers and the lakes. And I actually highlight the map. And on the map, I have like a yellow highlighter on a bend in a river, and then I point and say, there's always fish on this bend behind this log,
left
right?
At the third rock.
Yeah, I mean,
grass.
Seriously, like I take the time to do that, and then I have a box of hand-tied flies. Mm-hmm. I have a bottle or a couple bottles of beer in there from a local brewery, because most of my target audience was a lot of guys coming in, and they were coming in to fly fish, and so that welcome basket was tailored specifically for that target audience. And I got rave reviews about that welcome basket, right?
Well,
and
it's the little touches that show you really care about your guests. And imagine them coming and saying, wow, this is amazing. Well, look at the time that they took to do this.
One of our cabins in the cherry log cabin that we have, it has a custom s'mores basket. And it has this recipe book for all these different types of s'mores. And it has Reese's Pieces s'mores. It's got Almond Joy s'mores. It's got all these different kinds of s'mores. And so we have this recipe book. Well, again, we always have a handwritten note, and then we reference, hey, we hope you love it as much as we do. Right. Here's it's really fun to sit out on the fireplace and test out all these different s'mores recipes, check out the book, and then we have all of the ingredients they need for every one of those different types of s'mores in the recipe book.
That's awesome.
And then we say, and by the way, when you leave, please take the book with you home and share these recipes with your family, right? And so it doesn't have to be these crazy over-the-top welcome baskets. I'm a big believer that it just sets the tone for an amazing experience. And we really try to customize it to who our custom audience is, what they're coming in to do, and then having something more than just the typical water bottle, bag of chips, and a candy bar, right? And so, I mean, at a very minimum, you should have that. Think about when you travel, if you get in somewhere late, you always do want water. We always have water in the fridge for our guests, right? And we had one of my members yesterday asked me a very similar question to this, but they were saying, hey, we have this crazy coffee bar, right? And so their welcome basket was around the coffee bar, and it had the stir sticks and the honeys and the different types of coffees and all these different things. And their property manager was like, oh, that people are just going to take it. They're going to complain. It's not worth it. You don't want to have anything out but a couple water bottles. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, well, I think your property manager's lazy, right? I'd have a different property manager. You know, that's good enough. Like, that's what a lot of people are going to do. Right. But if you're trying to raise the bar and be at the top of your market, do something better. Absolutely. Be better. Right. And so I think that welcome baskets set the tone to be better. And it should be a thought out welcome basket. Like in our masterclass course, we have like a dozen different types of welcome baskets for the chocolate lovers, for the fitness fanatics, for the coffee lovers, all these different things. And we give examples of what to put in them. But just be creative and have fun with it. And people are like, well, logistically, isn't that a pain? How do you do the maps, and how do you do the handwritten notes? It's not hard if you think about it. Again, most properties are going to have 50 to 60 people that come through your property in a year. Right. Absolutely. So what we do is we take the time to write 50 handwritten notes out. We highlight 50 maps. I get 50 boxes of flies. I do the exact same, but I get 50 s'mores recipe books. I write 50 handwritten notes out. I do it once a year. And then I have it in owner's closet, and our manager, our cleaner, I take a picture of it, instructions. All they do is set it out. We do the same thing down in St. George. We have families that come down there. So our welcome basket is catered to families. It's got a lot of different candies and different things for the kids. We just do it once a year, right? And we have all the supplies. We have a picture of how it's supposed to be laid out. Our cleaners, when they turn over the property, they set it all out, and it looks like they have this custom experience every single time somebody checks in. That is lighter. I wasn't less winded, I guess.
I kind of like that.
All right.
I kind of got excited. It's almost lunchtime. So I was going to say, You should get some s'mores.
Hey, don't tell them we do this in the mornings. I'm drinking whiskey in the morning when we record these.
We do them all times a day. Sometimes we'll tell you. So
yeah.
Anyways, good session today.
Okay.
Good answers, good advice. So.
Okay, we'll wrap it up then, huh?
Yep.
All right, no more questions.
No
right?
more.
I
That's
might
it
want
for
to cut
today.
you off. Okay.
Nope.
All right, guys, we will wrap it up then. We appreciate you spending your time with us. We know how valuable it is. At the end of every episode, I ask you 2 favors. The first is if you got any value out of this or you know somebody else who would enjoy these shows, please share it. Those things help us spread the message and spread the news. And if you have more than 30 seconds, leave us a review, give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. And the final challenge and the thing I always ask you to do at the end of every episode is to go pick that one thing you can do today, start building that life you don't want to take a vacation from. Cheers, my friends. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man.